Hello, everybody. I'm going to get my comments up. Yay! You guys are there. I'm always surprised there's actually people there. Thank you for dialing in. Thank you for doing it. Dialing in shows my age. I was trying to get something done on my computer today, and our website for me was down. For Allie was down. When I talked to the website people, were like, "It's not down." We were like, "Okay." Um, anyway, I was trying to get something done, and I felt like I was on dial up. I don't know if you remember those days. Made that funny little noise. Hey, Melanie. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Lynn. Already snowing in Ottawa. Yeah, we're getting some snow. We are getting some snow. Okay, let me see. See, I can't see when these comments scroll up, but somebody said I'm finally catching you live, so I can't see the name. I think it starts with a B. Um, Maybe it's Barbara, but hey, Linda. Hey, Donna. Yeah, hey, Barbara. I guess that was good. Hey, Susan. It's fun seeing friends. Hey, Rita. Oh, good. You're back. You're back. Okay, great. Hey, Lilina. Gosh, I wish I could see you. It's been a long time. Um, Hopefully we'll get to visit soon. So, I so the rest of the rocks have come in, and the mason started working today. It's kind of neat. He's putting up the brick pier part. So the house used to sit on brick piers, and they're still there. It still does, but they kind of stuccoed over it. Hey, Beth. Hey, Kathy. Hey, David. Hey, Carol. Hey, Cheryl. And so he's redoing those where you can see them now. Hey, Ann. Cheryl up in Maine. That's on my list to go visit too. Um, so he is putting the, kind of a, I guess they're real brick, but they're thinner than a regular brick. And it's more of a facade, really, but he's putting them back on top of the brick that's underneath the stucco, because that's what I wanted, which is way easier than chipping off the stucco to get to the brick that's under there and having all of the weird spacing and stuff. Hey, Phyllis. Hey, Annette. Hey, Cheryl. Um, so it's looking really good. The brick looks good. It looks old, which is awesome. And then there's stone that goes in between that's kind of squarish and rectangular looking. And the color on it looks great. They didn't put that on yet, but we're getting down to 12 degrees tomorrow night, which is not okay. And the house still doesn't have electricity on, so we had to turn the water off today. So my husband was over there waiting for them to finish. It was 70 degrees here today. Waiting for them to finish so that he could turn the water back off. And then we'll go over Sunday and turn it back on, because on Monday we're back up in the 60s again. Just insanity here in North Carolina. Hey, Laura, yeah, you know what I'm talking about with all that craziness of, and I'm sorry for the dings. Some of this stuff just ignores my pleas to not bother us and chimes in. So I hope everybody had a good week. We had a good week. My friend Susan Greening Davis is here visiting, and so spent some time with her, and she's working on her June project, which I will tell you is gorgeous. It is stunning. And I don't have the model with me, probably because it would have been too tempting for me to show. She probably didn't give it to me. But it's really beautiful. It's a Dutch sampler extract. So she's charted a Dutch sampler, which is really pretty. It's a really pretty one. And created a small, which is a fold up. And it's just very delicate looking. And then the inside of it is fabric that is really pretty, that has some little pockets for tools on it, like a laying tool and stuff like that. Just really beautiful. And then we've been working on another project together, which will be a collaboration from us, which will come out later this year. And she's starting to work on her August class. So I'll get that one up for sign up soon. I know a lot of people have been sending me notes. I will tell her you said, hey, Lelena. She may be on tonight. She's here in town. She was going to do this with me, and then she really wanted to finish the model for that Dutch sampler. And I think she had everything done but the hemming. Now that one I will tell you, we're going to do it again. So if you don't get in June and you like it, once you see it, you will be able to get back in there in, maybe not in August, but we're going to do it again here. And it won't get taught anywhere else, I don't think, until it gets taught again here. It has some new stitches in it. It has a stitch in it that I had never seen called a top winder stitch. And so Allie was looking at it because she was doing the charting, and she called me over. I was like, whoa, I've never seen that. And so I went to some books that I had, and we found it in Yvette Stanton's book, and it's called the top winder stitch. And so it's one I had never seen. And it's got some other really pretty ones. Hey, Kim. Um, so it's a class worth taking to learn some new tricks in, maybe. And it's small, so it's manageable. It's not the whole sampler. It's just a little extract. So anyway, that's that. Um, so I know some of you are still stitching on, when will Mabel Took be released? Well, she's all printed and bagged and tagged, as we would say. She's sitting here behind me, actually. Several hundred copies of her. She would have been a good Christmas one, and I really wanted to get her out at Christmas, and I didn't. Um, she could come anytime. She's really ready to go. I just want to get my Bristol out first. So as soon as I get that back from the printer, maybe I'll let you guys vote. How about that? you can you can tell me which one you'd like to have after the Bristol. So if you haven't looked at Kezia is beautiful, and she's our January release. The Bristol sampler, even though it's still in print, I'm considering that our February release. Just because I showed her to you in February. I really wanted to get it out in February. And I was waiting on that information to come from the trust there in the UK. So I had the full picture of the girls. But then there's March. And so, we could do Mabel Took in March. We could do the Saxon sampler in March. It's ready. Um, there's some choices there. There's a lot of pretty stuff. So put me a note on here and let me know. Let me know what you want. Um, so yeah. Your Bristol doesn't want to travel alone. I can't blame it. I can't blame it. But Mabel is really pretty, and Mabel's neat because we have a whole teaching pod for her if you needed it. So since she's got a lot of specialty stitches, queen stitches and stuff, we kept all the videos because she was a teaching class for me, and we kept all of the videos, and so that'll be there. Oh, Kezia, good. Susan, I'm glad you like Kezia. Well, good, Beth. I'm glad you want them all because that was on my list to tell you guys tonight. If you're interested in any of the Sassafras sampler charts and you don't have them yet, they're on sale through Sunday for 20% off. So if you missed Fiber Talk's Wednesday night show, I got on there and showed some of my favorite samplers that I hadn't shown before, and Susan was with me, so that was fun, and Barbara Hudson was on, and so she gave us some information and feedback, and it was just a fun show, and Beth and Gary, I appreciate you guys doing that with us. It was a lot of fun. But we got to look at a lot of stuff, and you got to see some things that are going to come out this year. But we did a special promotion on that show, and the code for it is F as in fiber, T as in talk. FT20, because it's 20% off. So FT20 from now through Sunday, I think the 13th end of the day, you can get 20% off any of our charts. So if you want to go out and order, I know there's a big bucket behind me that's full of orders pulled that Allie pulled today, that will get sent out tomorrow for you with that stuff in there. So it's a good time if you're missing some of those to get them. Yeah, so Bristol should come out next, which is Alice Ellen Usher. And then, I don't know, you tell me if you want the Saxon or Mabel. Well, you could do Mabel. She's ready. She's really, really ready. She's like ready. I could put her in an envelope today, ready. Beth. So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the 17th. First of all, thank you for all the beautiful posts on Red February. I have really enjoyed seeing them all get done. And Allie sat down and did hers, and I think she finished it. She finished all the stitching and stuff last night, and then today she was sitting up there early this morning doing her initials and stuff that she wanted to add. But everybody's has been so beautiful, so I just appreciate you stitching that one. It was a lot of fun, and we'll try to do something like that again. Don't forget about Rosa Parks that's out there. She's a really pretty free download. She takes a little time to stitch because she has a lot of colors in her. But she's very beautiful. She looks just like Rosa Parks. I mean, we used a picture of Rosa to chart her. and she looks really, really good. I think Allie did a great job with it. I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe, maybe not. Every time I say that, it's like every week I say that and then I don't. This morning I psyched myself out because it's allergy time here now in North Carolina, which is almost always allergy time. But my asthma was kicking in. I've got some allergic asthma to cats, believe it or not. And I used to not be allergic to things outside, but I'm sure that now I am because of the way my body's acting. But about 4 a.m. this morning, I woke up and I've been having a little bit of trouble breathing the last couple days, and I thought, oh gosh, what if it's not asthma? Because I've not had COVID yet. I'm vaccinated, but I've not had it yet, and I was like, what if it's COVID? I didn't want to be hanging out with Susan and seeing other people, and so at 6 a.m. this morning, I took a COVID test because we had some home tests, and it's the first one home test that I have used. I've gotten tested a couple other times when I traveled, but it was negative. I'm fine. It was just literally in my head with my allergies and stuff. So at least now I know that tonight when I can't breathe, it's just normal can't breathe time of year. So, all right. So the 17th. If you haven't ordered your kits and you want to order your kits, this is what we're sending out to you. So you've got the chart, you've got the pins, you've got the threads, and you've got the fabric. If you order all those, you can order it however you want. You can order it with Aida. You can order it with linen. You can order it with or without the threads. I know we've got some orders outstanding we're trying to get out, so I apologize. I will tell you it's a quick stitch. So, I started mine this week, and it's a pretty quick stitch. But I want to talk to you about, let me see if I can move this. I've got something on my screen here I want to move, maybe over there. I want to talk to you about how to cut the fabric. So I created this little diagram, and I've sent it with the ones that have fabric. And I said I would put it online, and I haven't yet, but I will do that tonight or tomorrow morning for those of you who are getting a piece of fabric from us or somebody else, and you're using stash and you want to know how to cut it. It fits on a fat quarter of 28 count linen or 14 count Aida. And the way that I diagrammed it, you basically need to cut two long pieces. One piece needs to be, about 8 inches wide here, and the other piece is about 10 inches wide. That gives you margin. And it gives you plenty of margin. And if you're on at least what we supplied, Aida, you've got about 25 inches in length. And on linen, you've got about 27 inches in length. So, and then once you cut the two long pieces, you can cut this one in half. That's top and bottom. And the top part is stitched. The bottom part is left open. Hey, Caroline. I would suggest that you personalize the bottom. That's what I'm going to do. But I wanted to give you a hint. I started stitching my top, and I had to take it out several times. I'm going to put this white thing behind it so you can see it, maybe. So, let me turn it this way. I started down here. And the third time I took it out, I decided to put this little pokey stitch right there. It's hard for me to do this because it's like a mirror image. Kind of like you do when you're making a biscornu. Because that told me the exact center of that bottom row. So this bottom row is 58 stitches across. And so if you count over 29 stitches, either direction, and put that little bar in going out, you'll never see it in finishing because that white outline is what you're using to finish with. And so you basically have a square just like you would in a biscornu. But for me, having that little center line there just made everything work. And I didn't have to take it out after that. Now, I think it will also help you, and you only need one on one side, because that's your starting point. And once you get it started, you're okay. I think it will help you with finishing too, just like they do in a biscornu. And if I were you, I would also put it on the long stitch. I would find the center of that on your chart, and on the outside of your back stitch line that you're going to use to join, I would put a center stitch there, just a pokey stitch, vertical stitch, so that you know that that's the dead center of that, so that you can match that up. This is the top, to that center stitch on the top somewhere that you put on there, and you know that at a minimum your whole design is going to fit as you sew it together. You've got it centered on there. And so, or she may tell you to do it another way. We'll have to see what she says in there when we get to that point. But I don't think it's going to hurt to put that center stitch on that part. I don't have mine out. I'll look at that before next week, and you guys can tell me. I saw that Judy Lane already had her long piece done. Let me see what it says in here about that. And if you haven't gone out and looked at the finishing directions yet, there is a link on this page. I'll put it online for you too, but you can find it on her website. She doesn't show anything like that here, but I'm looking at what she has on her thing. Okay, she has put the center on the corner of one of hers instead of line it up on the center. So you will want to do that. So if you look at, so for example, if you look at this C here is the center of the chart, and she's lined that up on the corner. So that's what we'll want to do with that. So you don't really need that vertical stitch on that one. But you can put it there if you want to. It won't hurt you. But for me, it helped me get this lined up right to start, because I just kept having to do this over. I wasn't getting my Smyrna stitches lined up, and it was just painful to me. You're never going to see that, and you can take it out at the end if you need to, but it was helpful to me for that. Just wanted to tell you about that. So we will keep doing this on Friday nights, at least for this month, and see how you feel about it after that. I really meant to get my gizmo set up where I could stitch, and you could see me stitch tonight. I will have it done, I promise, for next week. And my nails are just terrible. So you might not enjoy that view. Pretty vitamin D deficient, because I haven't been out in the sun. I've been working in the basement like Harry Potter. So anyway, hey Rhonda. So anyway, I will get it set up, and we can stitch together. Hopefully you guys are stitching. And I did mention to you guys that there is Aida available for this if you want to stitch on Aida. And I talked to you about the stitch in the center. I wanted to, so the threads are all Weeks Style Works. There's 10 of them. And Weeks was really great about getting the threads out to us. So they have sent us 2 big orders of threads so that we could get it all kitted for you. And we put them on a ring like this, and we put a little card on there from us, and we wrote on the back of it what it was for, just so you have that. But it's, you know, it's not a fancy floss ring, but it will keep you organized, and it comes like that, and so you're good to go. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, which I believe I brought down here, is if you want to, when I'm stitching with Weeks and DMCs and a few of the others, sometimes I use wax. And so I showed this to you guys before, probably on a floss tube. This is the waxer that my nephew made for us and that we've been selling. We call them Whirly waxers because his last name is Whirly. They are very, very pure, and you can see it's really thick. It's really pretty. I think they're $12 online. I think that's what we put them out there for. You can check me on that. But these just came in today, and these just they smell like honey. But you see how pure they are. They're really beautiful. So I have one that I've been using upstairs, and I love it. But since these just came in, I grabbed it to bring down and show you with the threads. And somebody asked me about it. I don't know if it was my show or Gary's show in the last couple weeks, and we talked about the waxers. But just a really beautiful wax. You can see what a pretty bee that is on there. And we put them in these little canvas bags. So they come in a little canvas bag, so you can keep it in there, you know, and keep it in your kit and stuff like that. So I personally think that that is probably the best, in our industry, the best waxer out there on the market, just because it's very, very pure and it's large. So you're not paying 20 bucks and getting a tiny little thing. You're actually getting something pretty substantial that might last a long, long time. So, and he's really enjoyed making them. It's been fun. He sent me a note and said he had another batch ready if they were still selling. And I was like, oh yeah, Tucker, we'll take them. So, and if you haven't watched that video, you can go watch it. So if you haven't ever used wax, what you do, it's good for cottons, and some people will use it on other things. I will tell you the other place it's great for is on metallics. So if you've ever struggled with a chronic, this will fix that struggle 9 times out of 10. You almost have to use wax on chronic, which is the metallic braid. And I'm sure the same is true for like petite treasure braid and stuff like that. But I don't stitch with metallics that I don't use wax. And you basically just lay the thread over the side, hold it with one finger on this side and the other one, and then just pull it. And so that kind of cuts a groove in the wax, and that's okay because that's what it's made for. Kind of cuts a groove in the wax, and the wax gets on the thread. And then you hold the thread up in your hand, and you just caress it like this and move off the excess. So you just kind of pull your finger down over it if there's any excess. Sometimes there's not, and sometimes there's little pieces of wax on there, and you just rub it down. You'll be shocked and amazed at how much easier it is to stitch with metallics once you do that. The other trick with metallic is to use a short strand and to lock it in the needle. And so when I stitch with metallics, I use a really short strand, like 18 inches, and I tie a little knot up at the eye. You can also do like a thing where you put 2 pieces through the eye, and then you put the needle through the loop and you pull it. But you basically want a single strand, and you want a little knot up at the eye so that it doesn't move along the thread like you do with normal thread, because that friction of the metallic moving through the eye of the needle frays it, and that's why people hate it. It just rubs it till it falls apart. And use a bigger needle than you might think you need to. You might have to use a smaller one to finish off and get underneath some stitches, but the less friction you've got around that eye, the better for metallics. So wax is great for metallics. It's also really good for cottons. I haven't really used it much on silks because I haven't needed to, and I don't know that I really would. I've used it a little bit. I really just use it for cottons and metallics. Hey Judy. So wax is great. It's very natural if you get a really good natural wax, or you can use like Thread Heaven or Thread Magic. It came out and got renamed. I think it used to be called Thread Heaven, and now it's Thread Magic or something. Hey Sharon. So that's another good one. It's a chemical composition, but it's a conditioner, thread conditioner, which is what this is too. So I like stitching with wax. And right now I'm actually stitching a sampler that came out from an online designer called the Witchy Stitcher, and it was cryptids. And so it was like Mothman and Nessie from Scotland and Yeti and Bigfoot. It was all those characters, and it's all in black. And so I'm stitching with DMC, and anytime I use DMC, or if you're using Cosmo or Anchor, I have to use wax. And so for that one, I actually have, you can use any wax, but sometimes I will take one waxer for really dark, heavy hue colors like black, and I'll keep a waxer for all the others. And so I have a black cat up there from Stacy Nash, and it's a pretty good substantial one. It's one of the few that's a nice thick waxer. And I think we still have some of those online, but it's a black cat, and I use that for the black thread just because I can. But this, I've used this too on it, but I have to use a wax on DMC. I just do. Yeah, Weeks knots on me too, Lynn. That's why I'm bringing it up when I'm talking about. I love Weeks. I love their colors, and I think they do a great job. And they're from North Carolina, so I'm always going to be in their corner. But my stuff knots sometimes too, and so I use the wax on it, and it really does not knot. So now on this is a 32. Oh no, sorry, 28 count. Is it? Confused now. 28 count. This stuff comes in 32 too. So this is a 28 count linen or 14 count Aida. It's a pretty quick stitch. So if you've not started yet, you can order and you can start, and it's a pretty quick stitch. Judy's already done with hers, long part, and I really just started this yesterday for the third time. I had to restart it, and I didn't stitch on it much, maybe an hour or so, and got that done. So it's a pretty quick stitch, and maybe you'll have it done for St. Patrick's Day this year, and maybe it'll be for our birthday next year. So, but it'll be fun to stitch on in March. I don't know about you guys. That's something else you can tell me. I like to stitch in the season. So I really enjoy stitching what the season is, just because it puts me in the mood. So I'm really enjoying stitching on that one. So that's that. I don't know if I had any. Oh, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the gift cards. So we ordered, we've been using gift certificates since we opened, and we had to switch our online shop, e-commerce is what it's called, for out of PayPal and into Square, because PayPal made some changes that just weren't nice. They weren't nice to businesses. Now, I still use them to pay for things, and I use them when I send some invoices, although I may switch that over to you. But I had to move the back of the business sales over to something else. And we already use Square in our shop, and so we use Square. And so it made it real easy for me to finally get the gift cards going. So these just literally just came today. I'm super excited. And it was hard to pick a design, and we'll probably change that at some point, but it was fun. But it has our new address on the back. So yay. Now we're committed, right? So those of you who have gift cards coming, I was waiting on these. I'll get these out in the mail to you. But I hope you like it. So they'll work online or in the shop either way. And you'll know where the new shop is because it's on the back. So I wanted to tell you about that. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about Market. So even though we didn't go to Market, we made a lot of orders, and they're coming in, and as they come in, we're putting them online. So somebody asked me a question about whether or not we had our Market stuff online, and I didn't put it up for pre-order. I think I mentioned that in one show, and I don't know if I finished my thought around that because I distracted myself. But I didn't want to put it up for pre-order because I wasn't sure how long they would take to come in since we didn't go to Market. And so we're putting them up as they come in. So I know that there's several of them that are up there already. Shakespeare's Peddlers up there. Wool Fairy. It's right here. It's neat. They have a neat little look. Fairy Wool in the Wood. Fairy Wool in the Wood is what it's called. And they have little sticker packs with them, and they're kind of just little cute things. So those guys came in, and those are up. I am looking at here Heartstring Samplery. Of course, there's not a lot that we don't carry. So just keep checking back on the Just In page, and they'll all be in there. Hey, Robbie. Hey, Rita. So yeah, so we've been putting our Market stuff up, and there was some good stuff at Market, and I've talked to some people that were there. I actually went shopping. So I took Susan back over to the Johnson City shop. I love them. Sandra owns that shop, and she's got a great helper there. I think her name is Amy, and it was fun. And yes, I bought a few things there. Some things that I didn't order, or didn't have, because she had a couple things that I don't usually carry, which is good. That's the way shops should be. We carry different things sometimes. Hey, Inez. And and I'll tell you what else I like to buy there. I love beadwork, and I don't mind to do it. I can even do peyote stitch, but I don't have the patience to sit down and do it. It's just beyond me right now to do it. And Sandra loves to do the beadwork. And so she was actually making one of the Fern Ridge scissor fobs when I went in there. And so once a year or so, I'll buy one that she's already made. So I bought one in there this week, and it's actually going to be a gift for a friend. It's a really pretty little mermaid. And last year I bought a scarecrow, and I love him. He's on my scissors. I use him. But it's also neat for me to have something that I know a friend made, and because I consider her a friend, she is a friend. So it's fun, and they've had a really good market. They've had a lot of customers and stuff in, so it's been good. It's really good, and it's nice to have them so close. And so I will say, if you do get over to visit us, they're literally 40 minutes drive, and it's a beautiful drive any time of the year. Like even right now when there's no leaves on the trees, it's just a really pretty drive over into Tennessee, over the mountain. So it's fun. And so I would suggest that you take an extra couple hours and pop over there to see them. And they're really sweet people. They're really fun. Really nice shop. Um, I don't know. Do you guys have any questions about anything? Robbie, I missed you. You joined our local stitching that we do this week, and I wasn't there. But I saw where you dialed in. I was kind of bummed. This week was a busy week. So I'm sorry I missed you earlier, Robbie. But so is everybody stitching on Red February or 17th, or what are you guys actually stitching on? Oh, Susan's on. Yay. Yeah, so I already mentioned our video, Susan, with the samplers and stuff. It was fun. It was a fun video. I rewatched it today, right before this one. Sometimes I can't do that. I cringe. I'm like, I know I said something dumb. I'm just like I haven't watched all of these. I watched a couple, but these are so kind of off the cuff that I'm guaranteed I'm going to say something that I regret. But I can't take it back because it's live. So I've watched a couple of these, but I've not watched them all. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Rhonda. Oh, you're doing the red sampler. Good. And Susan Lalina said hello. So I don't know if you saw her, but she's on. And Robbie's been working a lot more. I know you have. We miss you. I miss you. But hopefully soon you'll get to come here. Middle Mist, yay. Yay. Miss Cherry Blossom is beautiful. I would like to see that when she is done because I bet that's beautiful. Hey, Holly. Cloudburst linen with thread. Yes, cloudburst linen is beautiful. Beautiful. You put Red February in timeout? Aw. Cheryl's working on Red February. Oh, Inez enjoyed the video. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Do you guys ever watch Victoria's Sampler? They do a Friday video that I don't get to watch enough, but I enjoy watching it because they're both Canadian. And here I am Southern. And so their accents just kind of, they always say, "Eh?" And that kind of cracks me up. And then today I was watching the video that we did Wednesday night. And I guess Gary had turned on like the automatic translator where it puts the words up at the bottom. And every time I said time, it put the word Tom every time. So it's just like clearly I draw that one out. So that's pretty fun. Oh, Kathy's getting close to being done. Oh no, you're having a frog. That's bad. I've had to do that too. And I cut it out. Susan. I get a pair of Dovos with sharp little points and I cut it out. But I'm careful. I do it under a magnifier so I don't cut my linen thread. But I do not try to take out. I've gotten pretty lazy about taking most things out. I had to frog this 17th twice already. And the first time I cut it out, I didn't frog it. And the second time I did it wrong again, and I frogged it because it wasn't too far along. But I may have to make us a frog chair. We might have to have a little timeout frogging area at the new shop. There's a really sweet little nook there that's just begging for a beautiful bench. And it's under the stairs, and it's just kind of neat. And Catherine, my friend Catherine, helped me pick out a really beautiful bench for it. We haven't bought it yet. I might or I might not, but I might have to hang a frog around there somewhere, and that can be the timeout frogging place. But it's going to be sumptuous if it is, because if we're going to have to sit there and frog, it's going to be nice. So, anyway, there's that kind of fun and nonsense. Oh, you're bringing it out tomorrow. Good. Will wax help white thread lay better? So, what white thread are you stitching with, Barbara? And what are you stitching on? White thread is painful sometimes. And the way to get it to lay well, it will help it lay better because it'll condition the threads and they won't get as twisty. So, the answer to that is yes. But if you're stitching with white thread, I usually have to railroad that. So, if you're doing two threads, um, there's a thing called railroading where you you pull your thread up through the fabric, and then as you go back, when you go back down into the fabric, you try to put your needle between. It's hard to explain. Maybe I'll try to do a video, or you can pull a video up of it, or maybe somebody on here can explain it better. But you're basically putting your needle between two threads as you take it back through the fabric, and it makes them lay beside each other like little Indians. But if you're stitching on a dark fabric, like a chalk colored fabric, it's really tough to get that to look good. I'll just be honest with you. Oh, you're stitching with one strand. In that case, if you're having trouble with it, I think the wax will help a lot. On 36 count linen, yeah. I think the wax will help you a lot if you've just got one strand. If it's not, you can use a laying tool. And you can use like a little trolley needle, which are painful for me. I can't really use those. Or a laying tool, which is just anything long. And you just basically, you put it underneath. I think I did a little video out there for Royal Garden where I showed how to lay a thread maybe. But you kind of put it underneath, like say this is your thread going back down. You put your laying tool underneath and you kind of rub it back and forth like this. And then as you're pulling this thread through the fabric, you rub it back and forth. And then right when the thread is almost down into the fabric flat, right when it gets right there, you rub it around and then you pull out the laying tool and you pull the thread flat. And I know that sounds crazy, but when you do it, you'll get it. And that will make the thread lay flat. And sometimes you have to do that if you're using two strands to do other specialty stitches like satin stitch. You'll have to use a laying tool. Does wax later migrate into the linen? I feel like it looks that way sometimes on antique samplers, but maybe it's just the dye. It's probably just the dye, Michelle, or it's damage from light. But a lot of the dyes weren't stable. And I don't know if Melanie is on tonight, but she's a dyer and she can speak to that a little bit. But a lot of the mordants, I guess, that were used in dye, the dyes weren't really stable. And so you would see the dye bleed, especially black bled. And it would bleed out into the linen a lot. And Susan might be able to comment on that too. Yeah, Barbara, also another thing is make sure you're using a little bit bigger needle than what you might be used to, and that might help you as well. On 36 count, I try to use a 26 needle when I can. Even if I have to go down to a 28 to get it underneath to finish it off, I try to use a 26 needle on 36 count rather than a 28 because it makes the thread not twist up as much. So you can try that too. People have used wax on threads for a long, long time. And I don't think I've ever seen anything where I felt like it did anything harmful. Some people felt like it would make the thread sticky, but only if you put it way too much on there, So you basically pull it through once and you wipe it down with your hand. And there's not hardly anything left on there. It just kind of relaxes the thread. I would have to see what you're looking at, but I would guess it's probably the dye on it. Susan, you can tell us what you think. You've seen a lot more antique samplers than I have, although I feel like I've seen many, many, many. But I've never really noticed where I felt like it was the wax. I feel like it was the dye. I will say that the other thing that happens sometimes is if samplers get dirt on them from the environment, sometimes you'll see samplers that are really dirty because they weren't covered with anything. And I'm not a proponent necessarily of covering a textile with glass unless you have to. And mine are in glass because they go in and out of the shop, and there's a lot of fluorescent lights, and I'm trying to preserve them in their colors. But like Allie's are not behind glass because she loves the natural textile, and a lot of people do. And if it was my preference, if I were just at home with my own needlework, I wouldn't have them behind glass because I think textiles need to breathe, and they're beautiful. And they're while they're very beautiful behind museum glass, they're even more beautiful without it. But they do age, with light. And the other thing that makes them look kind of yuck is, um, so if they were in an environment like an old one, an antique, or even a current one, where they person did a lot of cooking, and there was any kind of grease in the air or anything like that, that will attach to the threads and the linen, and then dirt will cling to that. And so sometimes they get really grungy looking, and sometimes they were literally used as fireplace screens. And so they would sit in front of a fireplace when it wasn't in use. And, some of them just get really, really dirty. I've seen a lot of them really dirty. Um, so, yeah, the dye, not the wax, Susan said. Hey, Kathleen. Um, so I think I don't worry much about the wax. I worry more about light and dirt. And I will tell you that my mother was a really, she wasn't obsessive, but she was meticulous about cleaning house. And she literally vacuumed every single day. And she cleaned the bathroom every single day. So we lived in a very clean house, except for the fact that we brought in a lot of dirt, which is probably why she had to clean it every day. But my aunt made her a really beautiful sampler, not a sampler, a needlework, and it was one of the leisure arts that did all the rocking chairs and the quilts and things. I can't think of who that designer was right now. It wasn't Mary Bill. It was somebody else that people collect. Anyway, it was the one of the seamstress with the dress up on the mannequin. And it was out, not under glass, for I would say 15 years, maybe 20. And my mom passed away when I was 22. And it was given to me, and it was really dirty. And so I have cleaned it a couple times and not gotten it to what I wanted yet. And it didn't have anything to do with us being dirty. And it wasn't near the kitchen. It was in our living room, which was at the other end of the house from our kitchen. But just the fact that it was uncovered, and we did have a dog that would come inside, but it stayed in the kitchen. It wasn't allowed to go to the rest of the house. So it never made it into that room. But it just had a lot of dirt on it. None of us smoked. It wasn't anything like that. It was just being exposed. And it was on Ada. And so, that, I don't know if Ada might pick it up more. Cotton may pick it up more than linen, dirt and dust. I don't know. But, I just think you have to think about those things. It's a balance between the beauty of the textile and the preservation of the textile and what you want. And you can have both if you put museum glass on it. The coffee Quaker, I love the coffee Quaker. It's pretty. Paula Vaughn, that's it, Kelly. Thank you very much. That's it. Yep, Barbara, you got it. Paula Vaughn. I love it. It's really special to me because my aunt is still alive. She's the only one of both of my sets of aunts and uncles that's actually still alive, is the one that made that. So she's gotten to come to my shop and see it. And, it's been real special. She's well into her, maybe she might be in her early 90s now, but well into her 80s for sure. She was fun. She was fun. I know I'm rambling, but it's probably what you came here for. But when I was a little bitty kid, she was my favorite aunt. And she was younger than my mom. And she used to come and get me just to get me out of my parents' hair. Because I was annoying. I will admit it. I was annoying because I just needed to be busy. I was one of those kids. I learned to read at 4, and I learned to embroider at 6. And they taught me these things because they thought it would keep me busy, but it didn't. And so anyway, my aunt came and got me one time, and she used to do it all the time, and we would go places, and she took me shopping. And so it's clear I was born in 68, so this is somewhere in the early 70s. And she bought me a pair of white boots. And we went back home, and she let me call my parents to tell them good night. And I was like, Aunt Ethel bought me a pair of go-go boots and we're fixing to go out tonight. And I'm not kidding you. My dad came and got me. They clearly believed that we were getting ready to go out. My aunt must have had that reputation. It was so funny. And they just laughed about that. I mean, for decades. My aunt will still tell you that story. Kim and her go go boots. And it's really neat. I went to a retreat with Dying to Stitch, which is one of my favorite shops in Virginia Beach. And for that particular retreat, you were supposed to wear a costume that represented the decade that you were born in. And so I dressed up as a hippie, a go go girl. And this has not been that long ago. I know the picture's somewhere on Facebook. I might have to post it for you guys. But I ordered this dress, and these white go-go boots. And I dressed up as a go-go girl. My friend Stephanie that went with me did the same. And Paulette was there that year, and she was dressed up. She's a few years younger, so she was dressed in 70s. And I almost won that competition, but there was a woman dressed from the 50s as barefoot and pregnant, and she won it. But it was great. Oh, something popped up on my screen. Let me get rid of that. And so anyway, it's fun because there were great pictures from that one. But I literally made it to like the final two people before I lost. It was pretty fun. But I got to wear those go-go boots eventually. It was great. Um, anyway, any other questions? I mean, that was a good question about the wax and the white thread. I mean, I don't love white thread. All the chalk designs that have came out were really hard on me because I could never get my white stitches to look good on that black fabric. It would take time that I wasn't willing to commit, because I would have to railroad every stitch and just be really particular. And I don't have a lot of stitching time, and for that, I just couldn't do it. You got go-go boots for Christmas when you were in the 6th grade. That's fantastic. My parents would never have given them to me for Christmas, ever. So that would not have been the thing. But golly, just it's really funny, right? That they were really worried. They actually literally came and got me across town. Anyway, we did have a good time, me and my aunt. She used to take me all kinds of places. I must have been a good travel buddy because my neighbor lady who took care of me used to do the same thing. We went on road trips everywhere. That must have been fun. I don't know what happened. I think I'm still fun. But working on the Smith sampler and the Swan is drowning. Oh, oh, I'm sorry about that. No way on the go-go boots. Yeah, that was my parents. Yeah, we were pretty strict Southern Baptist. So there was not going to be any go-go boots. Um, but there were just later on. So it was just fun stuff. But yeah, I come from a heritage of needlework. My mom did a lot of embroidery, actually, and she made a lot of things. Like she was a commercial seamstress, but for pleasure, she made all kinds of things. Like she made ceramic dolls and handmade all the clothes, and I actually still have all those. She made the bunnies and the cows and all those things that were in style in the 80s. She even painted the faces on the dolls, which is amazing to me. I could never do that. They're beautiful. And then she let us pick. I had two sisters, and we were adults. We were all adults, but she let us pick the colors and the fabric for the dresses. And so I've got one that's in purple cottons, and then I've got one that's in satins, and you'll probably get to see them at the shop. I'll probably get those out there. Um, Boots. That's great. Hot pants. I never had any hot pants. Boy, I can't see that getting by. I was a child of the 80s, so my parents, bless their hearts, and I used to get my mom to make me things that I would literally wear out on a date that night. And so I'd ask her Saturday morning if she would make me a skirt, and Saturday night I would wear it out. So it was fun. And she made me pants. So in the 80s you had Cyndi Lauper and Duran Duran and um what was it called now? Break dancing was in style. I'm sorry, my allergies are bad if you guys missed that. I got her to make me some plaid pants, like break dancing pants, like Cyndi Lauper kind of stuff, and I wore it to school. I was a trendsetter. I don't know what kind of trend it was, but I was a trendsetter. Oh, I'm gonna have to go blow my nose. I'll be back. Well, I intentionally left the door open tonight so that we might have a visit from Mr. Herschel. And he was down here before we started the video. And he's gone back upstairs. So um, I'll call him and see if he'll come in and you guys can meet Herschel. Kitty, 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 kitty. Herschel. Herschel. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Herschel. Kitty, 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 kitty. Herschel, come on. Everett said they ran to the food bowl when I was calling him. Herschel, come here, buddy. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Hey, baby. Hello, good boy. Hello. Come here. Oh, my goodness. Look at how big he is. He's a great big boy. Say hey, everybody. Say hey. Let them see your face, pretty boy. Here you go. What a good boy. What a good boy you are. You a good boy. Say hey, Herschel. Look over here. You a good boy. Aw. He's such a good boy. You're such a good boy. He's growing his feathers out, like his hair. He must be getting better nutrition because his hair's kind of gotten longer on his belly and stuff. So, anyway, thought I would share. Are you done? He's like, you woke me up for this, Mom? I was napping. I was napping. Looks like he's going to stay now. Sorry about that. So much for stitching, huh? Oh, thank you. I think he's pretty too. Where did I get his name? From my uncle. And so I was trying to think of a name that fit him, and I tried a few things, and he didn't come to anything. And I have an uncle. You can see how long you might not be able to see it, but his hair has gotten long through here. It's like feathers on a golden retriever. My uncle on my mom's side, the brother of my aunt that I was just telling you about, and my mom, my favorite uncle, really the only one I knew, because 3 of the others had already died when I was born. His name was Herschel. And he died when I was a kid. I was probably about between 8 and 10 years old, and I was really heartbroken. He died right before Easter, because we spent Easter Sunday at the funeral home that year. And he's brought his toy over. Now you're gonna hear the jingle jangle. Anyway, he had been on my mind quite a bit for a few weeks before I got Herschel, and I called him Herschel one day, and he looked up, and he came to me, and so I thought, okay. That's going to be Herschel. And he loves the name. He comes to it. And I like calling him that because I love the cat and I love my uncle. And it just keeps him in mind, which is kind of neat. Yeah, I think he is a good boy. Thank you for that. Junior high in the late 60s. A go-go routine to Nancy Sinatra. Yeah, the dress that I had that I wore to that dine to stitch thing, I think kind of looked like one of Nancy Sinatra's dress. Yeah, camera shy. He's usually down here all the time. He won't leave you in peace. He's obsessed with play, and I mean obsessed. And he's destroyed a bunch of toys already. So today he got a puzzle toy, which is a food puzzle, and he got buttons, talking buttons. You know, I don't know if you've seen it, but you can say a word and they're different colors and you can teach them to hit the button. So if they want food, they'll hit the button and it'll say food or whatever you've recorded it. You can put your name in there. You can put snuggles. So I'm pretty good at understanding what they want. But I think it'll be fun because I think it'll just be really fun and annoying to hear him constantly going, lady, play, 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 lady, 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 play, play, play. It'll just be nonstop button pushing. And I told Allie I would put her name on one. And I said, that's not going to bother you, is it, Allie? And she goes, no, I'll just start acting like a cat and ignore it. I'm like, okay, that's Exactly what a cat would do. So, all right, guys. Well, I have rambled for quite a while. I hope you guys have had a good time. And, thank you for dialing in. If you are having trouble finding us, you can subscribe and hit the little bell thing. And then I think it'll tell you when it's scheduled. And I will get it scheduled earlier this time. I've been pretty bad about it the last few weeks, getting it late. Um, Thanks, Lynn. Have a good night. So I hope you guys all have a fabulous week, and I will see you next week. Thank you for dialing in. I'm going to have to go blow my nose again. I'm sorry. Bye.